Good morning, welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator 2. I am Martin Wenzel. We are in northern Italy on our way to Lyon, France. And let's get the engine started. We're going to continue our job. We are taking plastic film rolls to Lyon. And we have 11 hours to go, and we need to make it there before 5 o'clock or around 5 o'clock. So let's get going. And I'm hoping today we can have a clean trip. Though I doubt that very much, because I'm talking about me driving here, and I just don't have much luck in Euro Truck Simulator with the clean jobs. Always hitting something. Benito! Alright, we got a toll stop here. After a toll stop, I think I'm going to... Alright, we got a toll stop here. Now, I don't know how many of you are Star Wars fans or pay any attention to the movies. I'm sure all of you have heard of Star Wars. And if you haven't, I don't know what rock you've been living under. But I did see Star Wars last month, January 5th. The first day it was in China. And then within 2 weeks, it was gone. That's pretty big news because... The Last Jedi, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, is struggling. And is a divisive movie. It's struggling against Jumanji. And we just saw Jumanji last week, and that was pretty good. And it's struggling a little bit. It's dividing the community. And it's just become a flame war on the internet. And why is it dividing the community? Well, you have the people on one side who... love it. There's nothing wrong with it. And those people include Star Wars fans who love everything Star Wars, and if it says Star Wars on it, they love it. Some of those people, though, are some of those SJWs, those social justice warriors, feminists, people who love the movie because there's a woman lead. There's a female lead. There's strong female characters. You know what? I have no problem with strong female characters. Give me a strong female character. I seem to remember there being strong female characters in Star Wars before. I don't know, Princess Leia was a pretty strong female character. On the other side, you have people who dislike the movie. Some hate it. Some dislike parts of it. And these people consist of Star Wars fans who hate to see what they love being dismantled and ruined. You have legitimate racists and sexists and bigots who hate this movie because there's a black character and a female character, you know, lead females and all this stuff, right? There are people like that out there. But the vast majority of people who have gripes with it are just regular, everyday Star Wars fans who hate to see what's going on with Disney Star Wars. I fall into that camp. Is Last Jedi terrible? I don't know if it's terrible. I liked, you know, when I came out of theater, I thought, wow, that was intense. I mean, that was all you could say after coming out of theater with that one. There was no time to breathe that whole movie. Actually, the times you could breathe, you couldn't breathe because you were watching what was going on the screen and kind of shaking your head. And the times I'm talking about are on the casino planet, Canto Bight, with Finn and Rose's storyline. So spoiler alert, I will spoil things, so if you haven't seen Star Wars by the time this video comes out, the new Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, too bad. Shut it off now, and come back next episode. Please. Alright, but you're watching the film, and there's just no time to breathe. It starts out with action, continues with more action, and then you get into Rey and Luke, and that's intense. You want to see, that's the meat of the movie, really. And you get then you get to the Finn and Rose storyline where they're on Canto Bight, the casino planet, and things kind of just start going nowhere. But there's still a ton of action. There's still stuff going on, so you just never have a moment to breathe. It's just a breakneck pace the whole movie. Is that terrible? No. And that's not what I have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with that. And actually, a lot of the problems a lot of people are pointing out don't so much have to do with what's in the movie. Some of it does. But for me, a lot of my gripes are what's surrounding the movie. The defense of every decision, every character, simply because they tick a box off on the diversity checklist. So the biggest gripe people have, and I have, is with the character Rose. Do I hate Rose as a character? She's not likable. And you know what? That's totally fine. It's totally fine to have unlikable characters in your movie. Okay? Your bad guys are unlikable sometimes. Some of your good guys are unlikable. Admiral Holdo falls into the unlikable category for me. Rose falls into that unlikable category for me. Doesn't mean they shouldn't be in the movie, because you need to have those characters. That's fine. You can have those characters. Don't defend them simply because they're women, and that's what the defense has been. If you think Admiral Holdo was wrong, or let's focus on Rose. I'll focus on Rose first. If you think Rose is a lame character, or did some stupid things, or said some stupid things in their movie, it's because you're racist. It's because you're sexist. It's because you don't like a strong Asian woman in a lead role. I have no problem with a strong Asian woman in a lead role. My wife is Chinese. Okay? This sense that's like, oh, well, you don't like strong Asian women in lead role. I have no problem with strong Asian women in a lead role. Make Rey a strong Asian woman. I don't care. You know, make the next trilogy follow a strong Asian woman. I don't care. That's fine. The issue is that when the strong Asian woman makes stupid decisions, you should be able to say, hey, that was a stupid decision. And so here are my examples. What are the stupid decisions? Well, the end of the movie is the big one. Finn is flying one of those air speeders, and they have to take out the Death Star cannon, basically. That's going to rip open the wall there behind, the big gate there behind. The Resistance is behind. The whole Resistance is there, all 200 of them or whatever's left. Finn and Poe go out there, and Poe calls off the attack, and I'll get into Poe later on, and this might be a multi-part thing. I might just pop in little segments of my review of The Last Jedi, because there's just so much to kind of talk about and gripe about and discuss, really. Poe calls off the attack. Finn says, no, we gotta destroy it now. Finn's got the right idea. Gotta destroy it. If you don't destroy that thing, the Resistance is dead. It's over. Leia's gone. Poe's gone. There's no one left for Rey to return to. She'll just have to go back and hang out with Luke on the island. Finn says, I'm gonna just do a suicide run. I'm going to kamikaze it right into the center of that big giant cannon. Just as he's about to sacrifice himself, Rose comes out of nowhere. Inexplicably, how she caught up with him is not explained. Knocks him out of the way. Crashes her ship into his, knocks him out of the way. Now, the stupidest part then shows up here. That was already, when she did that, I was like, what the heck is this? What is she doing? What is she doing? Finn runs over, and as she's like fading out of consciousness, she says, oh, we're not gonna win by killing those we hate, but by saving those we love. That's how we're gonna win. Something along those lines, right? So she saved Finn because she loves him, and then gives him a kiss. Okay, fine. Except, you just doomed everyone else. You did the exact opposite of what Spock does in The Wrath of Khan, where Spock sacrifices himself for the, the needs of the one are not, the needs of the many are greater than the needs of the one, right? And total opposite Rose pulls. And people have been calling Rose out for that. I've always been, that's the one thing I thought I saw about Rose that just drove me nuts. I was like, okay, that was the stupidest move. And people are like, oh, well, you just don't like it because she's a woman. She's an Asian woman. It's like, yeah, that's the problem I have with it. You didn't look at all with my complaint. My complaint wasn't that she was an Asian woman. My complaint was that she prevented Finn from saving the Resistance. Oh, well, the message is that everyone shouldn't be heroes all the time, right? Sometimes you have to retreat, right? Except the Resistance really couldn't retreat at that point. At that moment, they didn't know there was a way to get out. And there wasn't. They didn't know there was a way to get out. Rey wasn't waiting to lift the Lorax away yet. They didn't know how to get out. They were going to be fighting to the death. So Rose made a stupid decision that doomed the Resistance. She didn't know Luke was going to show up 5 seconds later. Granted, he was projecting himself, but to provide a distraction. You literally saved Finn and almost killed both of you, and there's an AT walker like 5 steps away that could stomp on your head. So I don't know what you thought you were accomplishing by stopping Finn from destroying that weapon. And people have pointed that out, I've pointed it out, and then I've been branded a racist, a sexist. And the best one I've even heard is that you wanted Finn to die because you hate black people. You don't like the black lead. It's like, what are you talking about? It's just these outlandish responses. And so you can't even discuss and have different opinions about a movie without being branded something in this identity politics sphere we live in now, where you disagree with someone, it's because of their skin color or their gender or however they identify themselves. Oh, look at that, 2 airplanes going up at the same time. It has nothing to do with you actually, the position. It's all, you disagree with them as a human being, like, as their identity. And it's just kind of ridiculous, and it's sad that that seeped into Star Wars. But I'm going to try to, it's going to be multi-part, it's probably just going to pop up over the next few videos. I'll just kind of talk about some things, some gripes I have with the new Star Wars movie in the direction of Star Wars. And probably take a little break here, and then I'll go into just breaking down the movie scene by scene, or storyline by storyline, parts that I have gripes with and that are problems. And maybe not even problems so much in the movie itself, but problems because of the because of the culture surrounding it. Alright, almost missed this toll booth as well. So I'm going to focus on driving just a little bit. But we have a long job today, so be able to talk your ear off about Star Wars. If you don't want to hear anything about Star Wars, let me know in the comment. Say, we don't want to hear your rantings about a movie. Just trying to think of things to talk about on our drives. Oh my god. Ugh. Problem is I'm engine braking and then I hit the clutch and that's what's causing me trouble. Oh. I was like out of the frying pan. What is this saying again? Blah. Well, anyway, I tried to avoid the one truck and almost slammed into the little exit barrier there. Alright, we're now off the expressway, so we're gonna have a few roundabouts to putter through. Whoa. Okay, dude. I like how he turned right out of... Was I in the wrong lane? I don't know. You're gonna have to let me know, any of you Europeans or roundabout experts, because I don't know what that was. He kind of cut me off. Alright, we've been driving for about 6 hours, so we got 6 hours to go. We're gonna probably be able to get to our destination on time. Right now, about 4:15. We need to be there at the latest 5:18, so... Wait a second. You know how I was freaking out so much about this? I'm so bad at reading the 24-hour clock. 21:18 is actually 9:18, so we got a lot of time. What am I talking about? Well, at least we're not going to be rushing. Did get up a little early. Did drive a little long yesterday. But we can take a half-hour break in the middle of the day here and still be just fine. We're right here in the middle of the Alps. Well, not the middle of the Alps, but the southern part of the Alps. Weaving our way through. 4 hours, or 5 hours to go on our trip. Making good time. And if I knew how to read a 24-hour clock better, I'd realize we had a lot of time. It's funny also, I don't even need to convert between 24-hour clock and 12-hour clock because my clock down here is telling me we're going to get there at 1600. The cutoff time, the appointment is 2100. You'd think I'd be able to tell a difference, but just kind of zoning out there. So there you can see that's Lyon, France. That's how the Italians spell it. As opposed to the French, which is Lyon. In Italy, it's Lione. Alright, we're headed deeper into the Alps. We're actually going to have to cross the Alps to get to Lyon. And I've only ever been through here without winter mod on. So we got winter mod on, the winter mod on. Sometimes I talk and it sounds very strange. Got Grimes' winter mod on. Not the heavy. No snow on the road right now, it's clear. Just snow in the mountains. So it really looks like the Alps now with the snow up there this time of year. And I've driven through here a few times prior to this profile, but it's been a long time. And who knows what ProMods has added in since. I'm actually gonna pull in here, take a break. Half-hour break, and then we will finish our job. We have about... Oh, killed the engine. I like how the... Oh, wait. Yeah, there it is. So we have 3 hours to go, so we'll take a half-hour break here. Let's keep the engine off. I will see you at about 1:30. Alright, welcome back. It's about 1:30. And we're gonna get back on the road to Lyon, France. Are you coming? No, he's not gonna go? Alright. Trying to wait for him, then he slowed up. Alright, so back to... I'm gonna start going through The Last Jedi and kind of reviewing it in order. Try to, at least. Only have 3 hours to go on this job, so it'll just be a quick start. Stop, 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 stop! You're not gonna stop! Oh. Alright, €12. So the movie starts out with basically a prank phone call. The Resistance is fleeing the planet where they had their base at the end of Force Awakens. Whoa! That's still an issue. I mean, that was an issue we had in American Truck Simulator with Grimes' weather mod, and still have that where the skybox just suddenly changes. And we're entering France in the last leg of our journey. So the movie starts out, the Resistance is evacuating as the First Order comes in, and the First Order is going to try and start bombarding the planet with a dreadnought. Poe shows up in his X-Wing with BB-8 in tow, and proceeds to basically prank call General Hux in the First Order. This is it's in character with what happened at the beginning of Force Awakens between Poe and Kylo Ren. And it worked the first time. One time it worked. And then it went on and on and on. The prank call went too long. Finally, you know, Hux's Hux's subordinate says, "Oh, I think he's messing with you," basically. And we finally get to move on. Poe then goes to attack the Dreadnought and starts taking out all the gun platforms. Oh, man! I love how suddenly I can't brake anymore. Well, every job, right? Every single job in American Truck Simulator. I absolutely suck at this game. Right? Alright, before we damage the truck and again failed to have a clean day as the snow comes out and makes it slipperier. Continue a little review. I'm not even going to be able to review this. It's just too hard to talk about it and drive. But let's try. So he starts taking out the gun platforms on the Dreadnought to make way for bombers to come and bomb the crap out of the thing. He loses power. I don't know if he gets hit or something, and BB-8 has to make repairs. We get a bunch of comedic scenes there, out of place, kind of little over the top, kind of like R2-D2 at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, and it was like, and it was all clearly CGI. And by this point, he's provided a distraction long enough for the Resistance to escape. They've gotten all the transports off the planet. They're ready to go. The Dreadnought fires, hits the base, but everyone's evacuated, and they're all on board the big cruiser. Leia says, "Hey, pull back, let's go. We don't need you to." And they have a disagreement. Poe shuts off the radio and, you know, orders in the attack, orders in the bombers to take out this Dreadnought, because he's like, this is the one opportunity we can get to take out this thing. Disagrees with Leia on that. At that moment, Poe's decision was wrong, right? He didn't need to do that at that point. Live to fight another day. We see the bombers go in, the bombers get wiped out, one of them with Rose's sister. When Rose comes up later, we find out that this is her sister. She finally drops the bombs, it destroys the Dreadnought. Poe comes back, gets in at the last second. Leia demotes him and says, "You wasted a lot of lives, though." Poe still feels like, hey, it was worth it. And the movie is trying to tell us, and Rian Johnson and Disney and the people have defended Leia and Holdo and everyone and saying Poe was wrong, point to this and go, he didn't need to do that at that point. Unfortunately, the movie undercuts itself 5 seconds later when the First Order pops up and we discover that the First Order can track them right through hyperspace and they're never going to lose them, right? So what Poe did, sacrificing all those pilots to destroy that one Dreadnought, is he bought the Resistance more time. Because if the First Order had come out of hyperspace moments later after Leia demotes him with the Dreadnought in tow, Resistance would be over 5 minutes later, because the Dreadnought would just blow them all out of the sky with that big cannon it has on it. So we see the movie trying to paint Poe as a rash decision maker, right? Hot-headed, hotshot pilot. Except his decisions are justified and vindicated moments later in the movie. So the First Order comes and attacks. Leia's blown out into space. Admiral Akbar is killed. All the leadership is killed. Leia is blown out into space, and she has her little Force space flight, which, whoa, which was a little cringe-inducing. It was kind of like, all right, it was the pacing. It was the pacing and the editing of it that kind of did that, and at the same time, it was also, especially in light of Carrie Fisher's death at the end of 2016, why didn't you have Leia die there? Edit it and have Leia die there. Okay, I'm moving over. Have Leia die there, because she doesn't do anything for the rest of the movie anyway. So there's a perfect spot where you could just, you know, have Leia out of the film. It would have been emotional right there. But now they're going to have to come up with some way to write her out of Episode 9 in 2 years. But Leia's little space flight puts her into a coma and knocks her out basically for the rest of the movie, leading to the drama between Poe and Holdo, which is a direct result of Poe's decision at the beginning of the movie, which cost a lot of bombers and lives, but ultimately destroyed a dreadnought, which would have destroyed them moments later, we see. Unfortunately, Holdo and her purple hair ignore the fact that what Poe did ultimately paid off and was he should have been vindicated, and instead treats him like a nobody pilot in the Resistance. This is your top pilot. This is one of your top leaders, and you're not going to tell him the plan. He simply asks her, what's the plan? Because he notifies her, kind of mansplains. It's like, okay, you know, he's mansplaining, explaining that, you know, what's going on. Because she gives a whole speech about hope and all that, but then doesn't really say what they're going to do. What's the strategy? How are we going to get away from the First Order? Sure, we're out of range of their big guns, but how long before we run out of fuel? And he says, hey, we're running out of fuel in 6 hours or 36 hours, whatever he says. What's our plan? What are we going to do? And she turns to him and says, oh, I've dealt with people like you, hotshot pilots. How was your plan to blow up that dreadnought? Oh, that worked out really well. It worked out perfectly. They destroyed the dreadnought. That was the plan. Destroy the dreadnought. I mean, the plan probably was to, you know, provide the distraction, but he then destroyed the dreadnought. You know, you're gonna blame him for that? Because that dreadnought right now would be taking you out of the sky, or blasting you out of space. So Holdo, you know, because he's a man, he can't know the plan. And that leads to the rest of the storyline for the Resistance. And it's an incredibly frustrating storyline, and this is the divisiveness of this movie, is that not only are people pissed off at the storyline, you know what? I almost don't have a problem with the storyline. The storyline itself, fine. Have that storyline, have the Rose Finn side story, that all can work. But don't defend Admiral Holdo's poor leadership in the name of feminism or something. I mean, because that's what a lot of people are saying. It's like, oh, you don't like her decision because she's a woman. If she had been a man, if that had been Admiral Akbar, I mean, Admiral Akbar is, I assume, a male Mon Calamari, but let's say it had been, I mean, heck, if it had even been Leia, people would say, oh, well, I mean, Leia is still a woman, right? But I would have respected Leia a little bit, and I would have thought Leia was stupid for her attitude. And she was stupid later on in the movie. She just blasts. Well, and she doesn't, let's move over here, because there's only certain places I can go to pay this toll. But in any case, I said this over and over to people who were criticized, you know, who attack people who have criticisms of Admiral Holdo, or criticize, I mean, as I'm saying, I don't criticize it being in the movie so much, but it's just the criticism of the character. It's like the character made a stupid decision. Character was stupid. Well, because she's a woman. That's what you're saying, that because she's a woman. No, I'm saying it because she's stupid. Flip the genders around. Make Poe a strong female pilot, the top female pilot in the Resistance. Make Admiral Holdo a man, talking down to a female pilot. The feminists would have been up in arms. I mean, just flip it around and it would be a whole different story. And that's where some of the backlash towards this movie is. It's on the outside. It's not even the movie itself. There are a lot of problems with the movie. There's a lot of problems with the direction Disney's going with it. But there's also a toxic atmosphere in the fan community, in the internet community. And that's just to be expected. The internet's a toxic place. So that's my introduction to my Last Jedi review. It's going to continue over the next few episodes probably, just to have something to talk about and probably distract myself and run into things. Still looking for that perfect day where we don't crash into anything. Oh my god! It's just, there's no... Wait, the only way I don't hit this car is if I stop before I know he's gonna stop. It's like, how do I know he's gonna stop that hard? It's just ridiculous. Alright, let's switch this so I can see where I'm going. Alright, we are coming up on Lyon, France. And to our drop-off point about 5:30. Next time, we'll continue with the review of Last Jedi and the problems and the good things, the things I liked. I didn't hate the movie. The movie has to clear a high threshold for me, and I'll explain that in upcoming episodes. But we basically went through why the Poe Admiral Holdo storyline is problematic. And not so much that it's a problem in the movie itself, but the problem of the defense of people saying that Poe's wrong, Admiral Holdo's right, simply based on gender. And I'm not saying Poe was right simply because he's a man, because you put it, you know, make Rey Poe, you know, and I would still be, you know, I'd be defending Rey then, right? So it's up to interpretation, I guess, but you're probably wrong if you are supportive of Admiral Holdo. Because, and I've seen this, it's like, oh, well, an admiral doesn't need to tell a vice admiral, she's a vice admiral, doesn't need to tell a commander or a captain what the mission is. This is true. This is true. But we are also at a point in this Resistance where Poe is one of the top people. There are a couple hundred people left. You're not going to tell one of the top people. He's got to probably be third or fourth in command at this point. Tell me you can't tell him because he's a hotshot pilot. And we'll get into why that causes more problems later. Alright, we gotta back in here. I'm gonna turn this way to line up a backing in. This is the first back-in I've had in a long while. Now actually, backing in is a little bit easier here in Euro Truck Simulator than it is in American Truck Simulator. It's hard to tell where I need to go. Oh, too far already. Okay. Let's lower the legs and see the damage. Excellent. Plastic film rolls delivered from Maribor to Lyon. We didn't lose any. We still don't lose any points for or money for damaging the cab, but still embarrassed by that. I reached level 10 just barely. We are now a skilled worker. So let's pick another thing. Let's just bump up this fragile cargo. All right. So that is it for Saturday. We are in Lyon, France. Next time we'll take a job, Sunday morning. And until then, I'm Martin Wenzel. This is Euro Truck Simulator 2. Take care. Happy trucking.